Hey everybody, Josh here with the CPR Garage. In this episode, we're going to show you how to convert your classic Ford pickup to a Serpentine belt drive using junkyard parts and original parts from the vehicle. So yeah, I feel like me and that guy could have been friends based on the window stickers. Okay guys, if you're like me, I used to be a professional mechanic and have access for free to all kinds of wiring diagrams, service manuals, all of that. So I could look up anything for free that I ever needed. Now, working out of the home garage, not quite the same. So what do, right? You don't want to buy an expensive subscription or anything like that. I want to tell you about somebody I've partnered with, and they are called eManual Online. So if you're sick of spending hundreds of dollars on these big old books that you barely ever use, you can download an entire manual for whatever vehicle it is you're looking for. And I did look, and they do have motorcycles on there too. I am an affiliate of theirs, so if you go to my website to get some merch, you know, www.cprgarage.com. There is a banner for eManual Online that you can click on. It will take you to their website. If you buy it through my website link or by clicking the link at the bottom of the video, you'll also get 22% off. Use code CPRGarage22 and I get a little bit back from it from you guys buying it. Now, that being said, I'm not just recommending this to you without having checked it out myself. They reached out to me a couple months ago, and as luck would have it, I was in the middle of trying to diagnose a terrible short and wiring problem on my 09 F-150, the Snowflake. I had the whole interior ripped out of that thing, and I'm pretty good with my Google Kung Fu, like searching forums and searching. I could not find the diagrams I needed. They had them, and when they sent it to me, not only was it like the complete workshop manual with flowcharts on how to diagnose and wiring diagrams, it's also the complete owner's manual for that pickup, which I don't have because it didn't come with one. So you definitely get your money's worth. If you're looking for a resource for online manuals for the vehicles that you have, I highly recommend it. Again, the code is CPRGarage22. They'll give you 22% off, and they throw a little bit my way. It helps us out with, you know, these dollars that are just flying out of my wallet. So please check them out. If you do, use the link on my website or the link down below. Again, it's eManual Online. Anyway, here's the episode. Let me bring you in here and show you what we got. Okay, so what we have is the original, well, not original, the stock replacement alternator that was already on the truck with the V-belt. And I swapped over the Serpentine belt pulley. I did clean it up a little bit and paint stuff, but that's all you have to do is swap over that pulley from a stock 460 EFI truck. So an OBS style Ford like F-250, 350, or even the vans. That is the stock crank pulley. Stock power steering pump from this pickup. This is another one that I had, and I actually pulled it apart and rebuilt it. So if you want to see how to reseal one of these guys, it's in the video right after this. Or if you don't want to see that, I'll put a timestamp at the bottom of the screen here that tells you when to fast forward to if you don't want to see that. So existing alternator, existing power steering pump, pulleys from an EFI 460 truck. This was just an alternator pulley that I had sitting around on something else like throughout the 90s and even back all the way to the 70s. Like all this stuff interchanges pretty easily. Here is the water pump pulley. Here is the alternator support bracket. This is stock old body style Ford pickup alternator bracket, which our original 78 style alternator will mount right into. Also take all the hardware, if I didn't say that. I did on the bottom here would have been mounted a, you know, the little spinny Al Gore machine. What is, oh yeah, the smog pump would have been there. This truck is 78 pre-emissions. We don't need the swag pump. Yeah. We don't need no swag pump. Here is the tensioner pulley, which goes right there on our power steering and AC bracket. And you'll see, I did blast these in my little Harbor Freight sandblaster, painted them with some high temp primer and aluminum, just like duplicolor engine enamel aluminum paint. I mean, you don't have to do that. You can just kind of clean them up, and also I'm not running AC on this truck. So to church it up a little bit, what I did was went ahead and cut all of this part of the bracket. This is where the compressor goes off. Okay, so those are those players. Okay, we're going to show you how to rebuild your own Ford power steering pump. So I've already disassembled it out and cleaned it. Now, why you would do this is because this is what you're getting when you buy like $100 rebuilt power steering pump from the parts store. These are the parts they put in it. So these old Ford pumps that whine like the Dickens, they're pretty hard to kill. They're like ex-wives. They're hard to kill. They just whine a lot. Anyway, they are a gear style pump in here, so unless things go catastrophically bad, the only issues they really have is leaks or the little pressure regulator guy sticking in there. So I'm going to show you how to clean this all up and put it together. This was actually a reman pump, and most of the work I've had to do was trying to get the frickin' black spray paint off of everything. So I'm going to clean this with some brake clean real quick, and we'll show you how to put it together with this kit. This guy right here is the pump bushing, which goes right in there, but this one does not have any shaft play, so we're going to leave that alone. Here we go. here is the old pulley from the tensioner pulley, and she's a little rough. Like, you probably can't hear anything, but I can feel that it's rough on my finger. This was the old power steering pump pulley that I used to mock it up. These are plastic, and it's so dirty you can't really tell right now, but what happens is they get fine little cracks in the ribs here, so those are junk now. I just kept those to show you. The rest of the stuff comes from Rock Auto, so it was pretty cheap. Power steering pressure hose, which is just a stock hose for a 78 F-150 four-wheel drive. And these are the two belts. This is one that I know works when you delete the smog pump pulley, because I did this on my OBS truck, Big Red, which was a big block truck. I'll put a link video right up here for that episode. So there's that belt. I already knew that that's the belt you need. This is the length I came up with to go around the crank pulley, water pump, and power steering pump, and under the tensioner with no AC pump. The stock OBS trucks that didn't have AC, which would have been like a plain Jane work truck, they had a idler, big old idler pulley to take the place of the AC compressor. I don't want to run all that junk. I cleaned this up for a reason, and I'm going to mount my coil here somewhere and run my fuel line down through here also. So that's why I did what I did there. Here is a new power steering pulley. That's a Dorman part number. Fits like pretty much any 80s, 90s, 2000s Ford with a gear-driven pump, and if you have this kind of pump and a serpentine belt, this is your pulley pretty much. I will show you a trick that I did for mock-up. Is I hogged out the inside of this, kind of like you do with pinion bearings when you're mocking them up, because I mocked all this up to measure the belt and whatnot. So these are a press fit, but I hogged that one out so that it's a snug fit, but I can slip it on and off by hand. That was for mock-up. Now I'll either keep that for mock-up or it can go in the garbage, because the new one will have to draw on there with a bolt. And working on exhaust right now too. That's going to be in the next episode for this truck, is going to be plumbing. Will be Josh the plumber. Here is my replacement idler pulley. Okay, Gesundheit. So with a brand new bearing, you can just swap the bearing, but there's the part number for that. This was cheap enough on Rock Auto that I wasn't going to piss around with swapping a bearing. So that is all the parts, other than, you know, the engine. The only things you have to do here is 3 of the holes. This one, and this one, you drill and tap to 7/16 because they're 3/8 on a carbureted cylinder head. And then this one, possibly this one. Yes, those two. Didn't have to worry about that one because it doesn't do anything. And then if you have a older carb style water pump, you can see the 2 notches here and here that I had to do to clear that pulley because it's such a deep set pulley. Okay, I can't get it on there right now, but that is to clear one of the things, and that I think was to clear the bracket. So that's all you got to do. I'll show you how to put this stuff on there right now, but you don't have to spend, you know, $1,500 for a front drive setup or whatever from March or Holley or whoever. They probably don't even make that for a 460, honestly, because nobody gives a flying. You see me? Hey guys, there's also going to be a link in the description for my website, which is, of course, cprgarage.com. We've got Richardson 112 hats, which you can see I'm testing currently, you know, for durability and such. We have CPR Garage, CPR Garage t-shirts. This is the Big Blocks Still Rock shirt. Let people know you support ass-kicking, gas-guzzling Big Blocks. We also have sweatshirts, which will be on sale soon. We have fitted hats. This one is black camo, which I needed to order a fitted one to kind of check it out. This is like my going to town hat. And I really like it. I really like the black camo, and I've got quite a few compliments on it. So embroidered front and rear on the fitted hats with the GY6 on the back, of course. Yeah, www.cprgarage.com. Anything that you buy on there is designed by me, and it goes straight into things that we build on the channel. So check it out. Buy your loved one a nice Christmas gift. This shirt is the engine that's in that truck right there. So we also have youth sizes. I'm going to show you the one I got for Roni real quick. Okay, we also have
kid sizes.
All right. What do you got there on the front?
CPR Garage.
Okay, what's on the back? No, turn around, you Nimrod. Stand up straight. Kid size Big Block Still Rock shirts. Right? High five.
Right.
Okay, I also saved all the stock hardware because I'm cheap. And if you're pulling this stuff at the junkyard, you have to pull that stuff anyway, so might as well hang on to it. I cleaned it all up really good in the ultrasonic parts washer, and then what I did was kind of wire wheeled them, and then they were really bare and would get rust easily. You can see kind of the coloring that's on there now. I basically pickled them in old motor oil. So I'm gonna bench assemble as much of this as I can here. Yep, and that's threading it in because that's a left-hand thread. On your tensioners, always think about how it goes on there, because it is a, you know, you got to think the bolt's gonna tighten in the way that you would move it to tension the pulley. One of your long bolts here, these guys, no, two of them apparently. You can see the difference in that end versus that end. Two of them you have to cut short, and I don't remember which two, so we will find that out together as we put this on the truck, because it'll want to bottom out and still have a gap there. Alright, well I can't find the thread locker, so we're going to forego that. Here is this baby. So your freshly rebuilt power steering pump just goes in from the back, and then it takes these bolts out of your stock hardware set. They're serrated and they have a big head, and I think they're stainless or something, but you can see the groove that's dug out there. Your tensioner has a nub on the back to kind of key it in there when I'm wrong. Then I should, obviously. What are you doing over there? What are you even looking at? Oh boy. They make a little install tool for the pulley. Don't have one. So I'm going to show you how to do it with just like some all thread or a nut and a bolt or something like that. First, let's see what the size is. I think they're 3/8. Okay, so all this is a piece of this 1/8 all thread. And oh, it's gonna be a bugger. Oh, bugger. Okay, don't watch this part. Don't do this. This is bad. I'm just threading that all thread in there enough to where it has a real good bite, and enough threads that it won't try to pull the threads out of the front here. And then I'm just going to hold that and tighten this nut down to get her on there. And if you are in doubt about how far on there it should go, you can see how far the last one went. See that little line? Should be a tiny little gap. You should be able to just move that pulley out just a hair, kind of like the alternator pulley. You know, everything has its tolerances and who's and whatnots. I'm going to throw this crank pulley on there real quick so that I can get this crap out of my way and open my lid back up. You don't need to see that. It might be a little bit hard at first, and then it should go, I'm not going to say easy, but smoothly-ish. The pulley. Yeah, I wonder if that's why they put those holes in there. You reckon? I mean, it seems to be feasible that would be a thing that a person would do in this situation to oh, so like I said, this is easier to do once it's on the truck. Jeez, pay attention. So maybe we'll go ahead and do that. I mean, it's started on there. That's what counts, you know? Right? Oh, buddy. Struggle bus. Yeah. Would you? Really? We're going to find out together which ones are supposed to be the short ones. And we're putting steel bolts into aluminum, so that means a little bit of the Silver Devil is going in there. Okay, so there's my 2 cut down ones. I'll show you how much. 3/8 of an inch. And it sounds like my heater is just about to kick on, so I will put on some music for you all while I do this. elbow clicks. Okay, here we are. I had to hit pause on the Johnny Cash so I could talk at you people for a minute. That is the whole power steering side mocked up, and I'm working on fuel filter stuff as well. Needs a little bit more, but we're almost there. So let's show you getting the alternator pulley and alternator and all that stuff on there. We'll throw the belts on and yeah, show you what the finished product looks like. Okay, I have returned from the store, and the shop gremlin has done something with my camera holder device. So anyway, got a fan and a spacer and an air cleaner and stuff, but that's for the next episode, because what we are worried about right now is getting this stuff on there. So this is how your OBS truck alternator bracket mounts. 7/16 bolt here and here, and then this little, I believe it's a 3/8 guy right there. These two bolts are for the other bracket that I'll show you in just a minute here, but I don't think I put anti-sleaze on this one, so I'm gonna put some on there. Yeah. So I'm just wrapping up the pulleys in this episode. In the next episode, we'll get into radiator hose, fan, spacer, all that stuff, what I used, and exhaust and fuel system. So the next episode is going to kind of be the plumbing episode, you know, Josh the plumber. So 7/16 course bolts. I got these nice flange head bolts at Tractor Supply. This one about 1.5 inches, that one about 1 3/4 inches. So, but these were a 2-pack, so I just cut that one down. That one didn't need cut down. Bottom bolt there. Let's get the alternator in here, and then we'll do some other stuff. This sleeve is just a split guy. You can just tap it in there with a hammer or whatever, but you probably want to get it started before you start to put the alternator in there, because then that's less things that you have to be lining up at the same time. So I'm just going to draw it in there with the bolt till it's about flush, and then when we tighten the bolt down, it'll bottom out against the alternator and be where it needs to be. This normally just stays in the bracket, but in this case, I took it out because I sandblasted and painted the bracket, so I cleaned that up a little bit too. Pretty pleased with how these bolts turned out. Here is my alternator that came on the truck. Woo, buddy! So it's just a stock replacement dent side alternator. It's like a 65 amp or something like that, which is totally good for now, because this is just a simple truck, no EFI, no, you know, other kind of junk. That it's just a dead simple carbureted manual 4-speed truck. The name of this truck is Simplicity. No electric fans, no AC, no cruise, just, you know, a big block and real truck stuff. Hold it up here for a second. This is a little trick in that it's a lot easier to put all the stuff on the back when it's not down in its final position yet, because we shall have our alternator harness right here, which is the original one. And it still has the external voltage regulator, this guy, which looks newer, and the alternator's newer, and it was working just fine. So this is what we're going with for now. So the bigger wire here, which it's still kind of puny, is the charging wire, and that goes on the big red guy on the bottom. And then the other two, I'm not sure what they are. One of them has to be an exciter wire, and then the other one is probably, well, the other one probably then goes to the voltage regulator, duh, because it's externally regulated. So anyway, exactly sure how those go back on there, but I'll figure it out and show you when I'm done. Okay, don't forget your alternator grounds through the case, so make sure it is grounded to the engine block. I pulled my cutoff bolt back out and just hit this with the cookie on the grinding wheel real quick. Got a little more off of there than I wanted, but I mean, it's aluminum, so it's not gonna rust really. So this bolt will have good contact here and also in the threads in the head. So that should be sufficient. And remember, always check your grounds. It's always the grounds. Okay, so this is what I have back here. Not sure that's right, but you tighten down this 7/16 nut down here on the charge wire, put the boot back on, this guy snapped here, and this one wanted to go here. And that's how it looks like it was. So let's loosen up the bolt, lay this over. I've got this bracket loosely on here with these two 3/8 bolts. One goes in the water pump and the other one goes into the alternator bracket, and that'll be our, that'll set our tension. Okay, let's see if I can do this one-handed. Got to keep the camera moving, keep it exciting. So this is loosely snugged. What we need to do is loosen up the pivot bolt on the alternator, which is, no, it's not 5/8. I think it was 9/16. Yep. Okay. Give your socket a good, you know, Glock magazine tap to make sure she's on there. Oh, there she goes, just like that. Here is the adjustment holder bolt guy. Okay, so this is a lot easier with, oh God. Anyway, so two hands is better than one. Okay, so you want to get this started while this is kind of loose, because otherwise the bracket has a little bit of play in it, and you can tighten it down in a spot to where it won't line up. We can final tighten everything later, but you want to get it so that it'll move all the way through the slot like so. Well, I think we're ready for water pump pulley and some belts. And let me know if I'm forgetting anything, but I think we're ready to go. And I have the fan spacer. I still have to figure some stuff out on that because you know, custom with a K. So I am gonna steal a couple of the bolts and use them to hold just the fan spacer on, because I don't have the right hub snout yet. It's a real bummer when your hub snout doesn't match. So I'll get that on, bring you back when we're putting the belts on. It's going to be, this is a Gates number KO60478. I do know that the 6 means it's a 6 rib and 478 is the length. It's not exactly 47.8 inches or whatever, but it's 13/16 wide, and it is 48 3/8 long. So there you go. That's what 478 means. It means 48 3/8 apparently. I know that works. That goes on the alternator without a smog pump. So the other side, I measured and I looked on Gates' website and I ordered a 60555, and what that is 56 inch. So why it's not just a 560 or a 50, I don't know. But anyway, that's what I believe is going to work on the power steering pump side, and that's what has to go on first. So let's turn you around and see if this is going to be any good here. This tensioner, the bolt that you use to change the belt, is a 15 millimeter. They're usually 15 millimeter or 5/8. OBS trucks are kind of in that weird area of time when bolts were both metric and standard on the truck. So, yep, that's going to be right in the way. We'll try to put it under the tensioner last. So let's get her. No, okay. Water pump and crank first. Water pump and crank. Let's just get in there. Sometimes it's easier just to do this. Hang your thumb out there. Get this guy on there. Oh boy. That is a, yep. Oh, that's aggressive. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Whew. That might be a little too aggressive. Okay, let's regroup and get some more leverage because we want to max this tensioner. Okay, got a 1/2 inch drive now, and this ratchet is the I'm not asking ratchet. This is I'm telling. Okay. Oh, that's a lot easier. Wow. She barely wants to slip on there. Okay. Then we'll let the tensioner down. I feel good about that because then I feel like it's probably not gonna slip. Maybe it is. There's little marks here on the tensioner. Yeah. It's right at the edge, which isn't good. So there's a mark here. And where's the other one? And a marker there. So that should be like brand new belt, no stretch. And when you get to that mark lined up, that means the belt is stretched and it's at its limit and needs to be replaced. So, as I suspected, we can't really put a shorter belt on there because you saw that barely went on there even. So what we can do is we'll see how it goes, and if it slips, this tensioner has a dowel that goes into a hole on this bracket, and I've done this before on 5.0 Mustangs that I had. You can take the tensioner off and rotate it down a little farther and drill a new hole. Obviously you don't want to do that on a stock setup because that means something's wrong, but when you're modifying stuff like this, those are the kind of things that you might have to do. Other than that, it looks pretty reasonably happy. So after the initial kind of break in, we'll see if that stretches at all. And If so, we will modify as needed. You can't go too far with the way I have the belt, because what'll happen is you'll get too close to the water pump and it'll start to run into the water pump when the belt flexes. So, not ideal being almost at the limit, but we'll try it, see what happens. Maybe we'll make our own marks on there. We can't really go with a shorter belt. That's not really an option. So, also on big block Ford engines, doesn't matter which one you're talking about, FEs or 429 and 460, they never had a reverse rotation water pump from the factory. There might be something aftermarket, but like as it came in a vehicle, every single big block Ford ever was standard rotation water pump. So do not turn it backwards. It will not work and you will overheat. Okay, let's throw that alternator belt on there. These, oh, I don't know, that belt on the power steering pump is probably good. That's like a, is that like a G? I think so. Okay, so you can see what you do is you just tension it with the alternator, and that's not going to be enough that I just put on there. So what you do is pry against the case of the alternator down here. Just use your big ratchet handle, and what you want to do is have this on here ready to tighten. Get your lever down in there, and I'll show you after I get it, but just put it against the alternator case and pull up on it, snug it up. That could be a little tighter. Boy, that looks nice. I'm liking, you know what? Call it moss, because I'm liking what I see here. Okay, let me show you. Don't have your neck like that. God bless America. Okay. So what I'm doing there is just got this guy down in there, kind of wherever's clever. And as I pull up on it like so, and then cinch down the bolt, and when you're all done, tighten that pivot bolt. And there you go. That is Serpentine belt drive on a classic Ford pickup with a big block. Like 99% OEM parts from the junkyard, and the rest of the stuff are just consumables, like a belt and a idler pulley that goes on the tensioner. Like that's just stuff that goes bad anyway. She looks nice. I'm going to make a little bracket up there to mount the coil to, and finish working on my fuel line that goes down to a filter right there, all hard line. But you're going to see that in the next episode. So let me put a little bit of more tension. Let me put a little more tension on that alternator belt. I'll hook up the battery and we'll crank it over at least so you can see it. Then we have fan stuff to do and finish exhaust and all that other stuff, but that's going to be the next episode. So here's your little taste. Here we go. Looking pretty good. All right, that's good. We're gonna kill my battery. All right. So there you go. Serpentine pulleys and belt drive for about $50. As far as all the junkyard parts, my time, it's a little spray paint, a couple belts, and yeah, mostly was my time. Mostly was my time. So I mean, if you don't want to spend big bucks, and it's nice to be able to go to the parts store and get pulleys, tensioner, what else if you need. You know, if I need an alternator, I just get one for a 78 Ford F-150. So, please make sure you're subscribed if you like what you see here. Leave a comment down below. Share us with a friend. Everybody's got at least one friend that likes old Ford trucks. And if you don't, you need to take a closer look at your friend group because they might not be the best. Yeah, it is getting very close to being ready to drive, you know, other than, you know, this situation, but that'll be resolved episode or two. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.